Hello everyone, I'm Improvewithapollo and welcome to episode number 5 of Improve with Apollo. Today we have a Diamond League Terran player who struggles against Zerg. So I think this episode is going to be a great one here today. We're going to be looking at mech. Oh boy, I do love a bit of mech. So let's go ahead and read the email that Oscar, the Terran player, sent in here. As we can see. Hi Apollo, I've struggled a lot with Terran vs Zerg lately, and I've decided to start meching in the matchup. The 3 orbital command into bio is not really working out for me, and I've got tired of being overrun with my bio mech composition. It's a bit tricky though, and I could really use some input from a pro. Alright, so Oscar is a 23-year-old Swedish Diamond League Terran, and here's a little bit of the info on him and where I can help him today. I've been playing since the end of 2011 with around 400 ladder games in total. I started it in Bronze League, now I'm in Diamond since 1 season ago. I've only just started to go mech, but the replay attached is pretty representative of my problems in Terran vs Zerg. I don't feel safe taking a third base early as I should be. Alright, that's going to be something we want to highlight in watching this replay. Don't know how my army composition should be looking during different parts of the game. This is something that shouldn't be too complicated, which I'll likewise talk about it in the replay. My big push lacks direction and sting. It kind of fizzles out. Alright. I don't know when the timings are start for counters to the different Zerg compositions. I know that my macro slips up in this game, only 45 SCVs in 10 minutes, my third is extremely late, but my questions are more about engagements and army compositions. I'd like some pointers on where to improve. So if we jump back into the game now, back into Oscar's vision, I'm going to start off by just letting this play out, because you should be looking at Diamond League level, looking to get into Master League, just a very simple opening. If we just pause it, your opening should always be pretty much the same. 1 barracks command center, into double gas, into factory, the reactor factory Hellion opening, into cloak Banshee, then into a 3rd command center every single time. Then from this 3rd command center you can change around. Even if you don't want to play mech, this should be the staple opening of your play. Then you want to be going double engineering bay or double armory. For your case, double armory. Then once the double armory is down, you can start to add on your production. This is the most all-round safe Terran versus Zerg opening there is. This is why it's so common within the pro scene at the moment. If we play this game now and through, we'll start to analyze what actually happens in this game. But, you know, looking over your points, I mean, the first point you did bring up in the email is that you don't really feel safe taking the 3rd base as early as you should be. Well, this is something which is a major problem if that's the case. Taking a 3rd base early on as bio is obviously more difficult. As mech, it's so easy to do it. The reason why it's incredibly easy is because Hellions and Banshees prevent anything from a Zerg player to stop you from taking the 3rd, but anything they do, it's stopped. From a Zerg player that's played at, you know, roughly Grandmaster League players or Grandmaster League level against Grandmaster League players, in this matchup, when I play against a Terran player who takes a fast 3rd base, it is very, very frustrating because there's nothing you can do about it. For example, if the 2 options for Zerg early on for aggression are, or 3 options I suppose you could say, Zerglings with speed, Banelings and Roaches. They're the only 3 options before teching to layer. Correct? Correct. So if that's the case, what is good against all of that? Hellions and Banshees. Hellions are going to be good against Masslings. If you keep on producing the Hellions, they're going to be good against the Banelings as well. And then Banshees is going to be good against the Roaches. So the 2 units that you can build and that you will be going for in this game counter any aggressive options that Zerg can go for, which is why you have one of the safest openings out there for Terran vs Zerg. Because if 25 links, for example, make their way across the map, then that's drones that the Zerg player is not building. That's evolution chambers that are now going to become late. That's queens that are now going to become later on. And his economy, and he takes a massive hit, you know, personally, to gain nothing from it because he can't do anything even if he tries. So, you know, that's why you need to be looking at some form of opening. And a lot of Terran players like to build the 3rd command center inside their main. You can even put it directly down there. I think Lucifron's one of the guys that said, you know, guys, just put it down on the 3rd base. There's nothing they can do about it. MVP as well. Things that have happened so far in this game, you did send your SCV and keep it in there for a maximum amount of time, seeing no gases. So the likelihood of very early aggression is very small. He could still take gases immediately after you leave, but it seems to be like it's most likely going to be a roughly 4-queen play, which is fine to deal with, but that means his creep spread is going to be pretty cool, pretty intense. With these Marines, what I personally like to do is, I love the kill of this, and I actually like to go up to the Xel'Naga Tower, I like to go to the second Xel'Naga Tower, and then even push up to the ramp to make sure he knows that my Marines are there, and then I come back. Because the Marine the Marines move, at the same speed of roaches and lings without speed. So you can always get back in time if there is going to be a problem. It puts a bit of pressure on the Zerg player already, and as a Terran player in this matchup, you have to keep him down. You have to slap him down at every corner, every opportunity, because if you don't, things spiral more than any other matchup I've ever seen. Creep spread, his economy, his upgrades, you really have to keep on top of the game, and you can't afford to fall behind. You have to be equal with him in terms of everything, or ahead. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump in. So you got the double gases, you've got the barracks factory down as well, so that's cool. If you look at him though, I mean, right now he has 2 lings out. If you had poked up here, you could have... I don't think this overlord is actually... It's not high ground. So I think you could have even killed this overlord. I'm pretty sure about that actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So you could have killed this overlord. You could have poked up and forced more lings instead of drones. That's the first thing you could have done. But to be honest, he's already got a spine crawler down and queens, so it's not like you can go up anywhere else. Alright, let's focus on you. Okay, so we have the bunker placement here. I don't really agree with the placement. I think it always should be in this location where the green box is to help the mineral line. Because if lings run by, they're going to get into the mineral line and kill everything. You'd have to come out the bunker to defend, and then they just surround your Marines anyway. I like that you're sending out another SCV to check for the third base. I like that. And there's the opening. The Hellions and the Banshee follow up here in a couple of seconds. Oh, bit of a mistake there. You've got the supply depots up when you want to transfer SCVs. That's a little bit of a hindrance towards your economy. Alright, so this is going to tell you a lot now. If there's a third base down, this is when you have... Okay, so before we even see if the third base is there, you have 2 options with Hellion and Banshee. Is A, you hit the economy and drone line and queens. Option B is you hit the queens and creep spread. The difference between both is the drones, if you didn't get that. If there's no third base, option B. You have to go creep spread and queens. And scouts, I mean, the Hellion and Banshees are your scout. You don't really want to use a scan now. You have to get them in there, get them scouting out what could be coming towards you. Looking at this, though, is when you see no third base here, Oscar, you have to be thinking, why? Why is there no third base? Is he building aggressive units? Is he teching up pretty fast? Is he playing very safe? Those are the kind of options you start to look at. And the Hellions are going to deliver the actual answer. Even the SCV could, but most likely won't. So you see 2 queens down. So through seeing these 2 queens on the low ground, it's a 4-queen opening at the moment. Could be 6, but most likely 4 because the 5th and 6th queen should be around by now. So that looks like a 4-queen opening. It looks like he most likely has taken gas. Could have taken all 4 gases, could have gone straight up to layer, but we know there's no third base down. So the likelihood now of what he's doing is starting to narrow itself down a little bit. I look more towards tech rather than aggression because you should have seen some aggressive units then as they would have been streaming down from this location. You would have seen lings maybe, ling speed, something along those lines, but it seems like 2-base tech for now. The Hellions are going to get this information for you. So first of all, Xel'Naga Tower. Get rid of this ling. We see no Zergling speed, so it could be still roaches alone. We check the Xel'Naga Tower. Check it! Oh, Oscar. If roaches were coming down this left-hand side... Oh, Oscar. Never mind. Looking at back here, though, before we move on. A second factory. I'm not too sure if I agree with this. The strength of playing mech is the access towards the 5th and 6th gas. That's the real big strength of being able to play mech. Because having the access to these gases early on, you're able to maintain good upgrades going consistently. You're also able to maintain an army size higher than like 80 supply, like all the time. Always pushing faster. I mean, who doesn't want a fast third base, right? And like I said, Hellions and Banshees are going to protect that for you. Alright, so your Hellions come out now. We know there's no third base, so my concern, or my initial concern with these Hellions is, yeah, check the Xel'Naga Tower. With 4 Hellions, you can't really stop him from attacking you. So I wouldn't really take a fight here. I'd kill that creep spread, though. That one right there. I'd pick that off and jump out again. And then wait for the backup Hellions. You want to be attacking in with the Hellions like 6 to 8. You can't really do anything with 4. But 6 to 8 starts to get deadly. The Banshee, because there's no third base, the Banshee joins the Hellions. So when you combine these 2 units together, the Hellion and Banshees, they will kill Queens easy. They will kill Creep Tumors easy. Like one scan, like right here, will reveal every Creep Tumor, and you push him back up to his natural. So that's what my goal as Oscar, if I was Oscar, that's what I'd be looking for here. Like I said earlier, I would have had a third base down as well in the background of this. Through adding on additional factories like this, you are looking more to be 2 base pushy. You pushy 2 bases. So looking out to hit some form of timing. Maybe a +1 attack timing or something along those lines, but that's not as strong. I mean, Ling Roach just shut down any form of 2 base pushes that Terran mech can do. So really, I'm missing this third base, but you know, you haven't taken it, so I'm not going to keep on kicking that horse.
Additional supply depots required.
All right, so Hellions need to be active. Keep being active. This is one of the most difficult things of playing Terran for mid-level players like yourself, is that you need to be active with this, but at the same time, you have to keep up with supply depots, which we've messed up on. You have to keep up with production that you're doing okay with, and so on. You just have to keep on top of things, getting into the gas on the natural, which has only got 1 at the moment, and so on. I know it is difficult, and you have to play fast, but that's the way you have to play against Zerg. I'm sorry. Darting past the Queens is a risk that I wouldn't take, because, as I said, there's no third base. He's going to be really tightly locked on 2 bases. He's going to have Lings out. If there's an early third base, as a Zerg player, you have the option to drone up to a possible of 75 drones without building any units. You know, that's an option out there. On 2 base, you should be, as a Zerg player, roughly at 40 to 50 drones before building any units, and that on 2 base is easily achieved before the 8-minute mark. At the 8-minute mark now, he's at 42 drones. I think that could have been higher, but as you see, there's 16 Lings out, with 9 more drones on the way anyway. So he's just kind of built these Lings first, rather than building them a little bit earlier than this. So the thing is that on 2 bases, you're never going to get any damage done like this. This is a big risk. There's always going to be a double evolution chamber there. There's always going to be a spine. The Queen's are always going to do damage, and there should be Lings out at this point. You do kill the third base drone, which is good, but that was a bit of a risk. But you didn't lose too much. You killed the drone, you killed a handful of Lings, but that's okay. I mean, now I join forces with the Banshee. The third base is still not there. Turn around and fight that Queen. Meanwhile, I'm looking very close at this, because at Diamond level, I don't want to miss anything that happens in this game. I really want to go over this very closely. Pick off this Creep Tumor. Good. Okay, good. That's the first creature we've actually killed in this game. It's getting a little bit crazy, and you backed off too far again. As a Terran player, I would never come back past the Xel'Naga Tower unless I was brought back by him sending Lings or something. So I definitely never leave that Xel'Naga Tower, because you could have killed all this creep spread in it, and you've let him get this far with only 2 Queens. With only 2 Queens, Hellions and Banshees destroy this. They get rid of all the creep spread. So this is your biggest mistake in this, Oscar. And I know you've recently only just moved over to playing mech, but this is something you need to really nail down hard. All right, so another factory coming in. 3 factories total now with double armory. What we're going to end up seeing, unfortunately, through your play, as I do want to follow that Banshee, because you're only on 2 bases and do not have the 5th and 6th gas available, is you're going to have to make sacrifices, whether it be your upgrades being slow, not 1-1, more so 2-2, or your unit count is going to be pretty low. Because on 4 gases, you're going to have roughly about 450 gas per minute income. Let's have a look at it now. You've got 3, 4, okay. As you can see, like 460 gas per minute incoming to you. And that's not really enough to power more than 3 factories. It's not going to be enough to keep up upgrades. So if you want to take a third base, it really has to be soon here, because you will want to take additional factories, because you can't stay on 3 factories like this. Alright, so you get pushed back with the Banshee. You still shouldn't be looking for angles in. Not even without cloak, no way. Join the Hellion with the Banshees again. on the front. Your focus should be the front. Still no third base by the looks of it, so yeah, just focus on the front. You just got your priorities wide a little bit wrong. A little bit of a supply cap here at 78. Engineering bay coming down. I guess now you've seen the third base, I suppose you're thinking, what the hell is he doing? It looks like you've scanned the main base as well. It does look like he's playing a 2-base tech. It's hard to call Spire play or Infestors because it could be either at this stage. Because players like to go Infestation Pit and just go 2-2 straight for an early hive, or they like to go Spire, delay the hive, and hit you, especially against mech, and hit you with Mulus, which kind of hurts. So yeah, you are in a little bit of trouble, and you're going to have to build some preemptive turrets as soon as you can. Second Banshee coming, creep spread now, getting a little bit out of control. We just haven't even bothered to deal with it. Third base still nowhere to be found. And what will end up happening with no third base as well is that you'll have one army, and then it'll, even in the email, you actually kind of nailed it down. And this may be because you're playing consistently like this. In the email, if we go ahead and actually shoot to look at it once more, in the email, one of the things, so I have looked at, I don't feel safe taking a third base. You should be safe. Army composition is very basic. I'll actually talk about that in a minute. My push lacks direction and sting, and it kind of fizzles out into nothing. Going back into the game, when it fizzles out like nothing, is because you don't have a good economy and good production behind it. So what will end up happening is you'll probably build an army with decent value size, because you can always build one army at decent value size without having that good of a production or that good of an economy, but you won't be able to reproduce it at a good rate. Therefore, it will start to fall down slowly but surely, and especially against a Zerg, maybe with the initial punch, it's okay, but then you only back up with like 4 Hellions and a tank, and then you know your push continues and it gets knocked down again, and then you reinforce with a Thor and 2 Hellions. You know, you want to be reinforcing with like a new army, not new waves of army, if that makes sense. You want to be going out with a push and getting the goal done. You go out, you say, my destination is the 4th base, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to prevent it from going up, then I'm either going to come back or continue on, and by the time I continue on and do as much damage as possible, I've got another army of equal size, if not more, ready to go again. That's the kind of power pushes you want to be having. Alright, so you're not really, I don't think you can bring this down now. There's like 4 queens around. Yeah, here they come. Okay, Hellions coming at the same time. A scan would have been nice, and then go. But you're coming in. Are you gonna come to these queens? If only you had Cloak here. Imagine if you had Cloak. Just imagine that. Just imagine it right now. Alright, so you dart left. Uh-oh. This is not so good. It's a lot of lings. They have 1-1. Queen behind. You're trying to get into the economy again when you can't. It's too easy for him to defend on 2 bases. I mean, he doesn't really care about this third. There's no drones there, so... Alright, and the creep spread, of course, is always going to help him. But now, the problem is here, Oscar, is that now you've lost every opportunity to take a third base. You know, we talked about it a little bit before, is that you want to be taking the third base with the Hellions and Banshees supporting it, preventing anything. But if you go ahead and build a third base now, he just sends all those lings we just saw to go kill it, and you're kind of in a pickle. So to be honest, you're actually quite far behind in this game now because of the options been laid out and the ones you've selected, and you've just chosen the wrong one every time. And if you look at the units lost tab, that's why that all those Hellions you just lost, the Banshee you lost. And he's lost nothing in this game. Alright, so army composition-wise is a question you asked me in the email. How do I know what kind of army composition to build? Army composition is actually pretty easy, actually. It's quite simple. The army composition, you have to build Thors now because you don't know if it's Thor meterless play or not. You got a couple of turrets, so you have to build Thors here. It always wants to be heavy Hellion. Always heavy Hellion, so whenever you build the additional production, which you're going to have to build soon with a third base, whoopsie daisy, just hit my knee, you're gonna have to be heavy Hellion, because Hellions soak up the damage, that's what they're there for, and also to bring the links down. You want to be going tank heavy before hive play. You want to be sprinkling in Thors. If he doesn't really have Mutilus, you don't need too many Thors in there. It could actually just be Hellion tank, but the threat of any mutilus switch or something like that, you need a couple of Thors in there as well, and their added DPS is always a pleasure to have anyway. So your composition is always going to be very tank heavy, Hellion heavy, with a sprinkle of Thors. But the later the game goes on, the less tanks you require and the more Thors you have. So it just kind of changes roles. So if you look at that in terms of percentages, I'd say 40% Hellions, or maybe 50% Hellions, then 30% tanks and 20% Thors, or 40%, 10%, something like that. Just Hellion heavy, then tanks a decent size, then a few Thors, and then switch the role of the Thor and tank over as the game goes on, and then start obviously to bring in the Vikings will be needed, and potentially Ravens. Good scan in the main base. Now seeing the infestation pit down, this has kind of confirmed his play. So you've got no turrets to cancel. You don't need to build any more Thors than the ones you have in production, just one more, and just go over to tanks and get Siege Mode and Blue Flame. He's gone Ling Infester. So with Ling Infester, your composition is always going to be Hellion tank, right? You know, Hellions at the front to kill the infested Terrans and Lings, and then tanks to target down the Infestors. You're very locked down with turrets, which is because you didn't really know what's going on. You built 2 more factories again before third base. If this was me, being the Zerg player here, Oscar, I'd be taking a 4th base. Because if you think as your position now, you have there's no way in God's earth are you actually moving out anytime soon for at least 3 to 4 more minutes, which gives me as a Zerg player the time to build a 4th base. Because if you can't move out, what's stopping me taking a new base, right? So, and I think that may actually happen in this game, because I mean I had a quick look in the production tab. Yeah, so 4th base coming down, which is normal, but this is because you're playing from behind, and you've added on 2 more factories before a 3rd base, and the 3rd base, you can even argue that the 2 factories should come down before this 3rd base, because your play so far has been, you know, just a little bit lacking. You haven't really. I don't think it's not like you're playing bad. It's that you don't know what you should have been doing with the units you had out. You just got the priorities set wrong. And once that changes, I think you'll notice a big change in your game. You'd be able to bring the creep spread down, the queens down, because there's no need to, like I said, to go into the drone line if he's only on 2 bases. It's going to be very difficult to do that. Your upgrades are good. That's something that's nice here. Your unit count and army count is very small, like 54 supply. He's only at 50 because he doesn't need to build units because, like I said, you can't do anything. SCV count in there is very, very high, which you should transfer down immediately to that 3rd base soon. 2 more tech labs. Okay, that's not too bad. I think I would have preferred 1 more reactor.
Research complete.
Maybe 3 tech labs, 2 reactors, just to keep the Hellion count really high. Like I said, the Hellion count is going to be very important, but you do have a lot of Hellions. And I think it's okay. I'm just a little bit worried you won't be able to spend all your gas because you're only on 4 gases. But your 5th and 6th gas is soon to be, so yeah, maybe it's okay. Alright, so right now he's got 14 minutes. He's definitely got Hive down, no question in my mind. We are playing a little bit behind, so it's going to be a difficult thing to do. You're going to move out. Okay, so you're looking to hit this timing. So the timing you're looking to hit now, I suppose, is going to be aligned with 2-2, kinda. 100 seconds away. But you need it. You're just trying to do something with anything, right? Because you know you have to do something before he gets to Hive, whether it be picking off a base. If this was me now, Oscar, my plan is I don't think I would even move out, to be honest. I think you'd have to take the hit. Because if he counterattacks you, you're going to be in trouble. I like that you got a Planetary Fortress. I think maybe you're actually thinking about this. Because because you've got such a small army size, you've only got 4 tanks, 2 Thors. I mean, it's a nice army, but it's just not very large. If he just, you know, runs around you, you're going to have to come back. Otherwise, you lose all your economy because you have no units at home, like 1 tank, which isn't sieged up. You'd lose his Planetary. He sends Roach Slings or anything from the left-hand side. You're a little bit screwed. Good scan. Getting rid of some creep tumors. Alright, so my plan now is, as the meching player now, I'd be obviously very worried about my base, but if I wasn't concerned, like you may not be right now, is to pick off the 4th base. There's no way you can actually go against a good Zerg player to the heart of the Zerg. He should have 200 supply now. I'm very surprised he's at 155. He should have 200 supply. He catches you unsieged because the creep spread is so good, and you're in trouble. You siege up so early on because you can't go anywhere. But the plan is to pick off a 4th base. This is a 5th base for sure. At 50 minutes, that's a 5th base. If Diamond level, Master League level, then this is absolutely a 5th base. He should have already taken the 4th. So I would probably scan over here. But the problem is, because you're late on the 3rd base, you're kind of slow in economy. So you've had to use all your energy in mules. Is that you can't really scan even ahead of time to know if he's charging at you or not. So it is hard to know. Maybe send a Hellion over there instead, but I'd start to go to this 4th base. If you can pick off a 4th base and get out, it brings you back into the game. Because you kind of throw yourself in an all-in position. I don't know why he attacks so sloppily here. Oh, that's very bad from the Zerg player. Oh my god. Alright, well you're getting the best outs here you could ever hope for as a Terran player. But basically what I was trying to get to is that you're throwing everything now. You're saying, all right, well, I'm either going to win or lose with this push. Because if you go in to the heart of the Zerg player in a more centered attack through the middle of the base where you can be surrounded from every angle. For example, if you attack on the left-hand side, up this hill, down the hill, there's only one way you can be attacked from, is the right-hand side. You know, it's a very directional, very focused, specific attack. Likewise, if you come from this angle, you're only going to get attacked from the left. If you go through the middle, you get surrounded. So you're taking a bit of a gamble, saying, all right, I'm going to go through the heart. If this works, then I could do really well. Excuse me. I could do really well and maybe could stay in the game, but the opportunity of that, the opportunity presented, I don't even think it's going to be there in the majority of the games you play, and you're going to lose more often than you're going to win. Alright, so you just going straight from, you just fighting the army, you're not really fighting his economy as well, so you just attack, 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 attack. And now you're left with 2 Thors and a Hellion and a tank, which is really, really bad. And if this guy's hitting, well, we luckily are seeing up here that he's not hitting his lava injects and building units. I mean, let's have a look. He's got 1 macro hatch, and he's now building another one because he knows that he's not macroing very well here. His energy is incredibly high, very high on this left-hand side. So he's actually giving you the opportunity to win this game. Oscar, I'm going to tell you like it is. If you do these kind of pushes, you will not get into Master League. Because Master League players will have better macro. They will push this back easily. You have to think more specifically to what your goal is. Your goal pushing out here is to stop his economy, slow him down before he gets the hive units. You can't kill him. There's no way to kill a Zerg player through playing from behind. You can only do that if you're equal or ahead of the curve, which you're not in this game, through, of course, the units lost, which is now being actually evened up through his sloppiness here as a Zerg player. But if you actually experience a better player, then he's going to build 100 lings and come and kill absolutely everything now, once you fall down to nothing. So you're getting a lot more, and this may seem that this is a good thing to do because it is having success in this game, but it won't be a long-term success thing here. Your 4th base is coming down though, so you're actually crawling back into this game because his macro is not very strong. He kind of had 1 army and the rest are just small trickling of units coming in. Yeah, he's getting a little bit stronger now, so it looks like the macro hatches and lava injects are kicking in a little bit more. But you've got yourself to a 5th base. The problem is here, Oscar, is that, I'm going to pause it, is that you've only been trading army for army when he's on guaranteed 4 bases because of the left-hand side, and that's obviously bad for you being on 3 bases, considering it's 18 minutes in the game and your main is run out. He should have an Ultra's Cavern coming down and a Great Aspire on the way, and we're just throwing these units down, and we're going to have no answer for the big surge of hive units. We don't have starports down. We don't have a very good economy. We're still below him here. We don't have the SCVs on the 3rd base because they're all on the natural. We didn't transfer them down. You don't have a 4th base up. And all these things are actually weighing up against you, and this is where it's going to become a little bit too difficult. This is stuff that can pull the game back for you. These kind of darting movements into the drone line. That's actually very nice for you. And picking off the 5th base, if you think about it, killing all these drones on the third base is like getting to his fourth base and killing it and doing drone damage. It's not quite as good, but it's almost as good. So upon killing a lot of drones there, 16 drones, it's not the best, and a fifth hatchery. So 16 drones and a fifth hatchery, I think you can call the mission a success, and I'd come back. Alright, I'd come back because you can't keep going. You don't have a big enough army. You have 3 tanks and Hellions. 4 tanks. You're on creep. I'd come back and I'd get this fourth base up. I'd siege all my tanks up around here, and I'd try to establish this fourth base up and try to keep on playing. But going in further and further means you're going to keep on losing this army. Maybe you smell the victory. Maybe you don't know that he should have a fourth base because you haven't got that much experience playing against or playing as mech. Alright, so we go in. We are at 2-2, which is obviously helping out a lot. We get another success, and God, you're going to bring this third base down. I'm so surprised that you're able to do this, and you shouldn't be able to, but you are doing it. So this is even more of a success now. This is where you need to turn back and start to plan for the later stages. I don't think you can keep on going for the win. Maybe you think he's just on 2 bases now, just has a handful of links, which is why you continue to go through. Fourth base is being denied. You do have 3-3 on the way. Your production has been okay. Let's have a look, actually. I mean, I focus so much on your attack now that I'm going to rewind it and actually look at the back of this more so, because I want to know. So we push out somewhere here.
Research.
Yeah, so okay, so your production's only at 5 factories. As you take this third base, as I've actually shown in other episodes and other tutorials, that you should now be building or having built extra production as you're pushing out, you know, or as you're taking this third base, because you're going to have an insurge of money and you're not really going to be able to spend it that well. So you should be throwing down like 4 more factories, 4 to 5 more factories here. And as you can see, your money starts to rise. So your production's a little bit off, and your money is rising despite being able to build everything from these factories, which you're doing okay. You get supply blocked at 145, which hurts and does, of course, lower this down, but you're only on 5 factories. 5 factories, you can power off 2 bases, so you're actually missing an entire production line that should have been granted through having a third base here. It's not terrible, but it's something that in Diamond League you should be focused on. Fourth base coming down. You haven't really killed too much creep either, but that's another story. Alright, so let's just get back to where we were here, Oscar. Let's get back into your vision. So you're over here with your army. You've killed this third base now. I'm going to slow it down. Let's see what you do now. Oh, that's a lot of links. Alright, so you finally, looks like you're going to lose everything now. He's still at 2-2. His 3-3 is very close. Alright, so you finally lose your army. And then if you come back and you look at the production you have with 5 factories, you don't have an army anymore to protect this fourth base. You don't have an army to protect this third base. You don't have any units, start to protecting for hive level. You're almost at 3-3, or you have 3-3 on the way. You're still building tanks. You need to be starting to go over the Thors, but only, with 4 tech labs like this, it is still very difficult because you still want some tanks in. And now the Thors, the Ultras are here, I think this game could be almost over. You send some Hellions out to go to this base. This is something you have to do throughout the game, is Hellion darts like this to get into the drone line. Throughout the game here, as a regular mech play, I don't think you could do this throughout the game in this circumstance, in how you were playing from behind from the start here. It's a little bit more difficult to actually achieve, but you don't have any army anymore, which is a little bit sad. You only have 2 tanks. Your macro 2000, 2 more factories is not enough. Should have been like 5 more factories. Extra factories over here. Maybe SimCity factories a little bit. And you're finally trying to go over to a planetary fortress, and near the command center being built. And you've lost. Like I said before, I basically said it before, is you threw everything to kill him without slowing his economy down, without furthering your own cause. And it seems like you're pretty much dead. There's no way you can fight these 3-3 Ultras now, or 5-3 Ultras. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it in your vision for a second. I'm just going to go over the email 1 second. Alright, so the 4 points that you put across here, or the last sentence is more about engagements, army compositions. So army compositions is pretty basic, is that you always want to be, you know, like I said, Hellion Heavy, Tank, and Thors. Your engagements need to be cleaner. They need to be to the point. You need a specific plan with this, with the engagement and with the attack. For example, you need to be going straight for the 4th base, get in, get out, get back. You know, that's how to play mech. You play it like a general. You have these specific plans and you nail them down. You have these goals that you go in and achieve and you get out. Unless you have 4 bases already set up, you never want to be waypointing across like you do. It's 1 army attack, 2 army attack, 3 army attack. You don't so much want to be waypointing over. Hellions is okay to waypoint over, but not so much Tank and Thors unless you have a very strong economy to be able to support that. In this circumstance, you don't, so you just can't do that. And, you know, we're drawing towards the end of this replay now. Other things that you write in the email, you say, I don't feel safe taking a 3rd. That was a big deal in this game, really a big deal. Army composition is pretty straightforward. Big pushes lack direction and sting and fizzle out. We've nailed that down here. I don't know when the timings to start the timings of when to start to build countering units to what he could have. It's very simple, again here, if you know exactly what they are. And what they are, I'm going to nail it down here for you again, is that you actually did really well with getting ready for Mutalisks. That was a good part in the game where you started to add on Thors. And then it's just Hive. Is the 2 big timings for you are Mutalisk and Hive. Apart from that, you should be playing Hellion Tank. Couple of Thors added in for the Mutalisk, and then you need a push to kill him or a 4th base depending on what happened prior to getting to that stage, and then you want to start to be evolving into the next part of the game, which is adding on additional starports to build Vikings ready for the Broodlords and Corruptors, Ravens maybe as well for the point defense drone for the Hunter Seeker missiles, and then starting to be a lot more Thor heavy. Thor, Viking, Hellion, Raven is the sickest combination early on. You want very few tanks. Because tanks are really good splash damage wise, but once you have 3/3 Thors out with the plating that they're gonna have, they don't die, and with their DPS, they're gonna kill all the Ultralists. They're better all round because what tanks deliver, sure, a tank heavy composition is gonna be a lot better against Ling Infested Ultra. The problem is, if you win a fight and he shoots over to Broodlords, you're in trouble because you've got a lot of useless tanks. Thors are the better all-round unit that you need to be focusing your army composition heavily around in the later stages of this game. It looks like you're still playing in here, which I don't know for how long more. Looks like just 30 seconds more. But hopefully, Oscar, you've learned a lot through this game. And definitely next time, take in every point that I made in the early to mid game, and the late game will look a lot different than it looked here. You know, your push could have been forced of what you did. You had to do something to win this game, and you know that something wasn't going to be good enough. And I hope you don't play like that every game if you're an equal or ahead of the game, because that kind of style is not so guaranteed to pull the victories in. Definitely check out, you know, some games from Lucifron, some games from other meching players like MVP, and just watch how slowly and methodically they play with their expanding early on, their 4th base timing, and their surgical army attacks. 1 army to the 4th, kill it, get out, or if they have a 4th base already up, kill it, then just bring down as much as you can while being up with economy. Alright, Oscar, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and everybody else, and thank you for sending in your replay too. I think a lot of people are going to learn from this replay. A lot of people are going to learn from your experiences too. And thanks for everybody for watching. So make sure to subscribe to my channel. It's the button in the top left. You just hit the subscribe button, and it'll send you emails. It'll give all my videos in your subscriber box for when they're live. And also follow me on Twitter, ApolloSC2, for regular updates on daily things or what I'm doing, whether it be streaming, tournaments, or video production. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. This weekend, I will be commentating at the Asus Republica Games tournament from the house here, so I won't be doing any videos until early next week. So make sure to check it out. You can, like I said, follow me on Twitter to get updates of when that commentary will be live. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.